Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another fabulous episode of Fog's World. Last time on Fog's World, we built this fabulous village breeder, and we have lots of villagers, and we're getting more all the time. And today is the day we're going to start on the iron farm, and I've already placed an outline. That's where it's going to go. And there we have the template. That's how big it's going to be. There's going to be a big tower up there. This iron farm is based on Tango Tech's most excellent iron farm, the Iron Phoenix. And I've built a lot of iron farms. I've built several of Tango Tech's iron farms. And ladies and gentlemen, this one is far and away the best. It's relatively resource friendly, and it is big and beautiful and very, very, very fast. It produces lots and lots and lots of iron. This server is not going to have an iron shortage when we're done with this. And we have all the materials, and we're all ready to build it. Let me just gather some friends, and then we'll start. All right, we have help. We have Guilty Fury, who's off charging. What do you... He doesn't wait for instructions.
I'm just climbing. I'm waiting for you to do your intro. It takes forever.
No, I already did the intro.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was just waiting for you.
Oh, okay, we'll go.
Well, get down here. Come say hello to the people. Where's Ruprecht the monkey boy?
Literally behind you.
Oh, hey, well, get in front. Get on camera, guys. Jeez. All right, so I'm here with RU Prime, otherwise known as Ruprecht the monkey boy, and otherwise known as Matthew, and Hot Guilty Fury, otherwise known as Brian. These are my boys. Two of them, anyway. And, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to come climb this thing, climb the tower. We're going to build an iron farm. And we have to build basically a bunch of platforms. And what I've got here is just an initial outline of what we need to build. Obviously, the nether rack is just scaffolding. So if you'll come over here, you can see this is how big each of these platforms needs to be. Right? So this is just an outline of one platform. And then what you have above it is the platforms above this one, and they just extend out as far as this needs to extend out. So basically, we're going to replicate these lines all the way out there. Okay? So step one is just to start filling all this in. Now, when we get to doing the jack-o'-lanterns, because I'm very OCD, I would like all of the faces to face north. So that means you have to face south when you place the jack-o'-lanterns. And if you don't do that, you'll ruin the entire farm. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Actually, that's not true. The farm would work either way. But there are some things that we have to place in specific orientations. So, when it comes time to actually put doors down, those actually do have to be put in specific orientations. But for this stuff, don't matter. Whatever order you go in. What happened to Guilty?
I'm over on the other side.
I don't see you.
I don't see you either because you're unloaded.
Not unloaded.
Yeah.
Just out of range, I guess. So oh, I see where you are. Oh, there he is. Hey, there he is. Hi, guy. Okay, great.
Oh, hi.
I just thought I'd go over here so we didn't have everybody
yeah,
working
you're
in
just
the
far
same
enough
spot.
away that you were beyond the rendering distance.
Yep. Just thought this would be simpler.
Yeah, it's something, or. So, in case you're wondering, the reason we use jack-o'-lanterns for this is because jack-o'-lanterns are both a light source and a solid block, which means we can place doors on them, and they will count as a village floor. So likewise, the slime blocks are great because they're blocks that you can place doors on, but they also are transparent blocks. And the way this farm works is by opening and closing trapdoors above these slime blocks to create villages. Out of the way. So if you look at this up here, let's go all the way to the top. So if we come all the way up to the top here,
lag.
so you see these pistons up here? No, you don't, because you're not here.
No, I fell, and then lag happened.
Yeah, whatever. So, Matt, you see these pistons, right? So if I were to power this redstone, it would extend this piston, push this block into that repeater, which would power the piston below it and push into that repeater. And pistons, when they're extended, are transparent blocks. Make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing there, is we're making transparent blocks.
So we're extending this all the way out, just like
before. Yep. Everything exactly like you sees it.
It's really interesting just watching a line of blocks build itself.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, because you can't see me.
It's fun, for sure. This is so much easier with Elytra. Oh my gosh. But this is a good part for you guys to help with, because this is like the repetitive, let's place lots of blocks part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this would take forever by yourself.
He just sees us as slave labor.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it hasn't changed much from
is that okay?
Kids.
You don't mind, right?
Yes, master.
Goodness gracious, aren't you done yet over here?
No, I keep falling.
Apparently you keep putting blocks in the wrong place, too.
Do you want to do this on your own?
Nope. That's what
then
you're
I'd
for.
Shut up.
Of course I don't want to do it on my own. What a dumb question.
Then don't say dumb things.
Oh. My audience has come to expect that.
From you, yes.
Yeah.
You saying dumb thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's part of the
Bug is pretty
entertainment.
dumb.
It's part of the entertainment. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
You also was working with Matthew. Gosh dang it!
It's a good thing you have wings.
Well, I've gotten over the initial scare of falling. Now it's just, dang it, hit spacebar.
Yep. All right. So these are set up in such a way that as redstone powers these pistons, they open twice. The top one opens and then the bottom one opens. See that?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to do eventually is we're going to send redstone pulses down these redstone in increasingly lengthy pulses, or differing lengths of pulse, which are going to cause, first all the pistons will be closed, and then one will open, then the next will open, the next will open, and so on. And what that's going to do is it's going to let us build up villages one at a time, all about the center there. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we have to place lots and lots of doors. Okay, these doors need to go in basically on the first and second floors. Okay. Oh, let's go back up. Ow!
Nice save.
Ow! 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 Come on! There we go. That took way too many things. Okay, now these doors have to be placed facing either east or west, and they ought to be you ought to be consistent. So from these, so when you're on the west side, face west. When you're on the east side, face east. And you can take the torches out as you go. Actually, all the torches on this level can be taken out. Because they're all lit by all these places are lit by those pumpkins up above us. So we don't need any torches here. So, just like this. Now, when you get to the end here, you'll be able, if you look straight down at your feet, you'll be able to place the torch behind you. I mean, not the torch, the door. Make sense?
Yeah.
So, you guys do this side. I'll start doing the other side. And when you get done there, meet me over here. And they have to go on both floors, right? First and second floor. It doesn't matter if a door gets opened or something along the way, but it does matter its initial placement. Make sense?
Yeah.
Matt, go to the other egg. We can come
What,
together.
work together? That's a stupid idea. Man, the first time I built a massive iron farm like this, doors didn't stack. Or I think they maybe stacked like 16 deep. Or something stupid like that. No, I don't think they stacked at all. I don't think they stacked at all. And man, that was a pain.
painful.
It was so painful because you had to bring up wood and make the doors as you went, and you'd fill up your inventory with space for doors and place as many as you could. Then you go make more, and such a pain. But you couldn't make them all ahead of time because, you know, where would you store them all? I have 15 doors left. Do you need more, or do you?
No, I have more than enough.
All right, we are done with doors. Woohoo! Let's take.
I have extra doors. You made more doors than needed.
Well, I knew I did. No, I knew I
by a lot.
Yeah, I knew I had more than I need. Oh, hello, spider.
Ow, that hurt.
Landed too hard.
Yeah, but it was delayed.
I'm not smacked by a spider.
Delayed.
Finished all that redstone down there off camera, and what that redstone is doing I'll show you here in a little bit, but if you go watch Tango Tech's Iron Phoenix video, it's pretty clear what's going on there. Basically, it's a counter mechanism that opens up all of these pistons one at a time, and then once they're all open, after a few seconds it closes them all again, and there's the same thing on both sides. And now I'm building the water tower for the villager, and I thought you might get a kick out of how I'm doing this. So what I've done, I've built this thing here to measure my height, so I'll know when I get to the right height, and I'm using ice blocks to make sure that I get a water source that's 9 blocks high, 9 blocks of water source, and just like this. And I counted out exactly 9 ice blocks before I started this. Get over there. So that I would know when I had 9 tall. So here, that's 8. This will be 9. And of course, using water blocks is makes this super easy because I don't have to carry buckets. So now I'll count out 9 more of these ice blocks, put it right there, and now I'll know when I've gone the right amount again. Easy peasy. So I'll have to replace it, and that's 9. More. Boom. And should get there pretty soon. So anyway, I'm going to keep building this tower, and pretty soon we'll get to the next step here. I'll do some more redstone, and yeah, I'll have a nice finished tower here any minute now, and we'll talk then. Ay, ay, ay. You know, I did open the elytra. I really did. Stupid server lag. Alright, well, we've got the chute up to the top done. Now I've got to build the other side. So we're going to come up here. I'm going to just leave this here for now, this scaffolding. I'm going to come over here and put a cap on this. I should probably leave that open now that I think about it. Tell you what, let me do this. Yeah, it'll be cheaper if I leave that open, won't it? Yeah, probably. Because I'm eventually going to have to get a villager in there. Okay, so that's... we got to go up 2 more. 1, 2... And let's build these up with it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we've got to do a tripwire sensor here. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to go up here and put you there. Pop. And then we'll come over here and do the same thing. Up and over and pop. And then we're going to put a tripwire right between it like that. And it wasn't specified, but you know what? I've been around a bit. Let's, for now, just do that. Just to be safe. And then we don't have to worry about stuff spawning on this. And then we've got to go up, what, 2 more above this, I think. 1, 2. And we need to do the same thing. So this... that, and I'm guessing this is probably close enough to that I don't actually need light here. That torch should be able to do all the lighting duty for here, so I think we're good. Yeah, okay, I think we're good. So, and then we go up here and here. Okay, so I've got that. Right. And I guess I just continue from here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of this shoot off camera, and then we shall talk. All right, checking in. I've built the big villager loop. You can see it right here. Hey, old timer's on. You can see the big loop right there. There's a little mini village up at the top there, or what will be when the villager comes within range. Here, we'll just land here. So that's going to be a little mini villager when our mini village, when our villager comes up this tube, he'll walk over here, he will see that door, and the game will register that as a village. Then he will fall down the water tube, hit the water break down right there, and stop for a little moment in front of that set of doors there, creating a still bigger village. And then he'll fall down to the bottom and see all the mini doors down there and create an even bigger village. So that's kind of what this is all about. So now I got a bunch of stuff to build on the other side out there. I think that's the next step. I'll have to go and check. And then there's a lot of redstone to hook it all together, and there'll be a spawning set of 3 spawning floors in the middle that I have to build. Maybe I'll get some help doing that. But yeah, a lot of off-camera building, I think, here, because frankly, it's slow, and I have to keep referring to my notes, and doesn't make for good video. But by the time I check back in, there should be a little bit more to show you all. So I'm going to get back to work, and we will talk again very soon. Well, it may not look like much. There's scaffolding everywhere, but this is actually largely done. Most of the redstone's in place. I've got little villagers out there and villagers over there. And now I'm doing the big job of filling 2 spots with villagers. This one here and that one there. And I've got a little system going here that's working pretty well. I've got this chest. This is how many more villagers I need to put in there, so that way I can keep a count. And this rail cart runs all the way down to the villager breeder right there. So if I put a minecart on here and give it a little nudge, it will go down and all the way down there, and it will pick up a villager. And as long as I still have villagers down there, it will keep bringing villagers up here for me. See, here he comes, here he comes. I'll go right over there, and then those powered rails are enough to stop him so that he doesn't keep going. And then I just close off the back, let him out, let him out. Pull these tracks up so I don't accidentally wash them away. And then I can use water to give him little gentle nudges over where I need him to go. I have to be careful, though, because what you really don't want is you don't want to put so much water in here that these guys pop out. Anyway, there he goes. He's in. So now I just come up here, pull out another bone meal, and I know I've got 11 more to go here. So let's go ahead and send this guy back down. There he goes. And here comes another villager. And I can just do this until I've got them all up there. Well, boys and girls, let me check in. The farm is complete. And it's up and it's running. And let me tell you, that was non-trivial. That took some very careful debugging. If you look very closely right up there, you can see my second camera account, which I parked up there, and I've been using that to verify all the build. So just making sure that things are built in the right places. It turns out when I first built it, it wasn't working. And after a lot of hunting around to figure out what I had done wrong, I eventually figured out that little cluster of doors right there and its accompanying station were actually 2 blocks too low. So I had just miscounted when I was placing that one section. Everything else, perfect. But that one section was wrong, and that caused all the villagers not to merge correctly, which broke the farm. The farm just wasn't working at all. And that's why. But it's working now. I also had to add a little bit of a delay there. This was not my invention. Someone else had already discovered that. Woo! Hello, Zombert. or Creeper. Hello. Yeah, the dangers of recording this live. Someone else had come up with that and realized that the water flow in 1.13, mobs moving through water in 1.13, they move at a faster pace, and that threw off this timing. So you have to actually slow the mobs down just a little bit right there. Slow the villager. So there's a villager that goes up and down through that tube, and if the timing isn't quite right, the villages don't have time to merge. So adding that little delay there causes it so that the villages merge. The other thing that I was worried about, and I spent a lot of time debugging to make sure about this, the other thing I was worried about is we're actually running on Spigot, not vanilla, for performance reasons on this server. And I had heard from a lot of people that this farm did not work on Spigot. Well, I'm here to tell you it can work on Spigot. It does work on Spigot. I believe you might have to just be a little bit close to the farm and you have to get the timings right, but it does work. So at least it worked for me. Your mileage may vary. Spigot can do some funky things with timings, particularly with redstone timings and the like, and this is a very timing heavy farm. So getting all those villages lined up correctly can be a little tricky. Because if the timings are off, they may not fully form. But it appears to be working just fine. So for us, I don't think that's going to be a problem. At the very least, I know I can get it to work with an AFK session, so we'll see. You know, maybe tomorrow when I AFK up there instead of over there, maybe that'll create a difference. I don't know. I'm fortunate enough that I have a second camera account that I can just park here to keep the chunks loaded if I need to. And that seems to do the trick. But yeah, as you can see down here, we're getting lots of iron. We're still getting the occasional poppy slip through, even though I've got a double sorter for poppies. And that's kind of annoying. They do occasionally slip through. So yeah, I have 2 poppy sorters here, one there and one there. They all end up funneling down into this dispenser right there. And I only after this chest fills up. So we now have a double chest full of poppies. I'm not sure why we would ever want it, but we've got it. but it does seem to be working. It seems to be working just fine. So I'm very happy with it. And there you go. All right, so I'm going to continue to do a little bit of work on this. Oh, I got rid of the villagers that were down here because I was afraid they might be interfering as well. Maybe I'll put some back. I mean, I'll probably do another villager breeder later. But for now, this is working. So, yeah, I'm going to go off camera again. I got to figure out how I want to build. Like, I'd like to build an observation platform up there. I want to make it easy to get to. I want to not have to worry about things like phantom spawning, right? I want to make sure that I've got a covered area that if someone wants to go AFK up there, they can without worrying about the phantoms. And yeah, that's it. So guys, thanks. We'll check in a bit later after I've removed what little scaffolding still remains up there, and I've built the observation deck. So we'll see you in a bit. Hey, well, it is done. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
That it is.
I've had this up and running most of the day, and let's go check out the drops, and then Ruprecht, I'll explain to you how this works. So okay. And yeah, so let's take a look and see how full it is. I think we're like to here. We're like halfway through almost. Yeah, we filled almost half the chests. And it's going strong.
Free.
It's going strong. It's great. So come over here, dude. So you can see the kill chamber there, of course. We've got a little section over there that sorts out the poppies and gets rid of them. This chest over here is all full of poppies now. And all the rest just get dumped here. So we're done with poppies now. Now come over here. This is how you get up to the observation deck. Come and just click into the cart, and I'll send the cart back down for you.
Dude, that's...
I'm going to send the cart back down to you. And then when it stops, just click into it. And it will automatically dump you out.
That's some pretty awesome...
Isn't that cool? And then it's just there waiting for us to get back in. So we got three spawn chambers. And then they drop down the chute, down into the lava, and that's what kills them and harvests the iron and the poppies. Not that we care about the poppies. This area here is safe to AFK. There should be no mobs spawning up here, and the fact that it's got a ceiling, it's got a little roof over it, means that you don't have to worry about phantoms when you're AFK here. And then, like, up here, there's a little ladder to get access to the redstone up here if you ever need it. This up here is where all the magic happens. So these pistons here, they open up. There's double pistons here that open up to allow sky access for each of these rows of doors. And each of these rows of doors, of 32 doors on the top level and 32 doors on the bottom level, make up a village. So there's 64 villages all centered about those spawn chambers. And
Whoa.
The thing that makes that work is all these dudes in the boats over here. These guys are just within range to keep those things alive. So be real careful not to change any of the repeater settings or anything like that. And that little dude in the water tower over there, he's the guy that kicks the whole process off. So if this chunk ever unloads and you need to rebuild the farm, follow me. Come down this ladder here. I deliberately left this part uncovered because I figured it's kind of fun to be able to look up and see this guy going through the tubes.
Yeah.
So come back here. You can either start it from up here or you can start it from down below. Doesn't matter.
I see the tower.
Yeah, you see the torch tower down there. There's buttons on the bottom block there you can start it with, or you can start it with this button up there. Don't press it or you'll cause all the villages to deconstruct. But that one up there,
I figured as much.
So that's a start. Those guys out there are what keep the farms active. Well, they keep the farms populated enough to spawn golems, put it that way. They're actually not keeping them active because they're a little bit too far away. But yeah, you get it. They sort of do keep it active, but they're not enough to build the villages. These guys are used to build the villages. So I don't know if you know how this works, but when you want to build, when this thing builds a village, what it does is it takes that little guy in the tube, sends him all the way up to the top, and then he sees there's a door way up there at the top. He sees that, and that becomes a tiny village. Then he drops down the tube and waits there for a little bit, and that causes these doors to be added to the village, which takes and makes a bigger village centered about those two doors. Okay? Then he drops down here, down at the bottom, and these guys get popped up. This guy here, and there's another guy on the opposite side of the farm. They pop up, and the pistons open, revealing another row of doors, and that causes the village to expand from there into like about this cluster of doors that's near us is where it's centered on. Okay. And
So
because because the villager is no longer near those top doors, they'll time out of the village. So that means the village's center shifts as they time out. And then if you come way back here, way back here, that dude way out on the end there, he's on a piston.
Whoa.
He gets shoved up so that he will view those doors above him as part of the village. They get added to the village. The village gets combined and gets centered kind of over these guys for a split second. And then he drops down. Those guys all time out. And then by the time all that's done, there's one row of doors here, either on the top or the bottom, depending on the position of the guys in the boats. One row of doors here and another row of doors over there that make up the village. And it's centered exactly about the spawn chambers. The upper villages are centered above the top two spawn chambers, and the lower villages are centered about the bottom two. And these guys out there keep the villages alive even when the next pistons are opened. And then the guy goes up the tube and does it all again. Okay? But when he goes up and does it again, and he gets back to the bottom of the tube, we open up another section of doors, and because that village up there gets created as its own unique village, and we're stretching the village over and centering it about the center of the spawn chambers, right?
Yeah.
And each time we're creating another village. And the doors that were added to the first village don't get added to the next village because of the ranges of the villagers and all that, you know, who's considered a new villager and an old villager and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's how it all works. It's really cool. Tango did a fantastic job on this farm. I did have to do one little tweak. So all of you guys playing along at home, there's a video. If you go and search for, you can find it. I did two tweaks. In 1.13, the village mechanics, mobs moving in water move faster in 1.3 than they did before. So that messes the timing here. So we have to add this little fence gate down there that has a hopper clock on it. And it keeps these guys from going up the tower too quickly so that the villages can be spawned in the correct order and the correct timing. Otherwise the villages would get all merged up and they'd mess up. So that's one fix. The other fix is there's a little bit of, you may notice there's some half slabs above the front half of that little tube.
Yeah.
That's because villagers tend to ride higher in water than they used to, and he would get hung up there on the right-hand side when it's trying to push him over to the left. So by replacing the glass blocks with those half slabs, that forces him down into the water and lets him go through faster so that it doesn't take quite as long to build things. But anyway, that's it. And because Iron Golem spawning doesn't affect the mob caps, this guy, I can just leave this guy running and he won't affect our mob farm over there.
Cool.
And I can also AFK at the top of the AFK tower there and do the fish farming, and that'll keep all this loaded. So the iron farm would keep running even when I'm AFK running my fish farm.
Nice.
Pretty sweet, huh? Anyway, that's that. I'm pretty happy with it. So you can either ride the cart back down or you could fly down, whatever you want. I think I'll ride the cart down. Oh, you're going to fly down. Okay, so I'll ride the cart. Down we go.
I went.
Yeah, it's a little faster to do that, isn't it? But it's kind of fun to ride the cart. Okay,
Oh,
well...
yeah, the cart's pretty cool. I like the mechanic.
Yeah, isn't that fun? I've done a number of little things like that. The one that I did in the last world where I built this farm was a station that just dispensed a minecart every time you stood there. You know, every time a minecart left, it dispensed another one in its place. Uh-oh. Here come the zomberts. Die, zombie. Yeah, and I like that way too, but I don't know. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. There's pros and cons. This is kind of nice because you've got a way back down without jumping.
Yeah,
but,
using your life.
And I like how it's perfectly centered. I got the diagonal perfectly centered about the farm, which I'm happy about. I'm very pleased with this.
Yeah, that is really nice.
Yeah, aesthetic. I'm really happy with the aesthetic. It just looks clean and nice, and the glass walkway around there kind of balances everything out. I'm super happy with the way this turned out. It looks great, I think. Anyway,
it does look awesome.
And now I think it's time for a much-deserved rest. This has been a big project. What you viewers at YouTube are seeing in like a half an hour took us several days to get this all put together and debugged and functioning. And I recognize I didn't do much in the way of a tutorial of how to build this. If you want to know how to build one of these for yourself, go look up Tango Tech's Iron Phoenix. And if I remember, there should be a link in the description. It's a super cool farm. I really like it. And apparently, it does work on Spigot, as long as you have not played around with the Spigot settings too much. So, I'm happy about that too. Spigot does weird things. Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. This one, apparently I got it working, so I'm happy. Anyway, that's it for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. If you like what you saw, subscribe, leave a like, hit the bell so that you get notifications. And for those of you that want to support what I do, please go check me out on Patreon. I do have a Patreon, and if we get enough people signed up on Patreon, then I'll set up a fan server for the people that have contributed. I think it's at the $5, $10. I don't know. Look it up. There's a contribution level to get on the fan server. But I can't do it until I get enough subscribers. So hopefully by the time you see this, I already have enough. But if not, you know what to do. Go to Patreon and toss a few bucks in the till so that we can get that fan server. And I will talk to you all next week, guys. Bye-bye. Thanks, Ruprecht. Bye.
You're welcome.